Okay, so let me just begin really quick. People, I hope they'll just come in and we can just continue and hopefully they will get the gist. So, welcome to everyone. This is a continuation of our first event, which was reimagining decolonization through community, um, or reimagining healing through decolonization and community. And that event was geared towards what was going on in the political climate and with the protests that are still ongoing. Um, a lot of the BLM movements have organically spread conversation about what we want to change, but we've noticed that with a lot of, you know, just protests and movements comes this need for healing and this need for an open conversation and to have open dialogue about what healing means for one another and what you can do to begin that process. And one of the most important things about art is that it lends itself to be that, to be a tool for healing, or to be a tool for expression, to be a tool for critique. It's so boundless to what anybody could ever rule it to be that it's essential to the movement and essential to everything we do. So this is Reimagining Futures Art Night. The slideshow is going to show a few art pieces from communities that you may not have known have been here, or you may not have even ever seen, because the reality is that oftentimes in academic settings, communities of color, LGBTQ communities, undocumented communities, disabled communities just are not allowed into the spheres of art due to the people who define that. So this is just a little bit of exposure, and so that you all can feel connected to that in a sense. Some of your communities might be on here, but thank you again for joining us, and let me get started. Oh, okay. So this is art in the Chicanx community. These three pieces I think that these three pieces are very much exemplary of what I just talked about. So this piece here, the one with the bra, is a moment in history that the artist chose to depict. If you can see at this little banner, this is the Suit riots, which happened in 1943 and were ongoing. And this was basically a race war. And it was a race war in the sense that anyone wearing these suits that are pictured here and that appeared to resemble Mexican characteristics or just identify with that Chicano or Tsutsu culture were brutally murdered. And it was there was a law that passed that women that were seen and men that were seen with zoots or affiliated with that would be allowed to be murdered or raped. Here we have that example. And this is particularly important that we can notice that art can be a way to cement history and to pass that on instead of your typical and traditional history books. And then over here we have the Virgen de Guadalupe with a siren, and the Virgen looks like it is caressing the siren. And this art is used a lot in feminist theory because this artist chose to do this on purpose, chose to use a goddess or just a saint in like Mexican religion, not Mexican, but that's typically what it would be used in, or Latinos. Like we see this everywhere. This is a symbolism of virginity, of purity, and she chose to do this and chose to depict the Virgen de Guadalupe as not pure, um, and it's supposed to defy the way that the Latino community, the Mexican community chooses to stifle women into molds. And I think that when we talk about art in that sense, we also have to realize that a lot of these artists aren't going to comply with rules of any sort, which means that sometimes this art may not be what you want to see. And it may anger people, which this did anger a few folk. It's just, but it's supposed to provoke thought. It's supposed to make you think, oh, what does this mean? Like if you had seen this, would you have known what it was depicting? And then the luchador we have here. Um, I'll be honest, I used him in one of my projects to depict the way that men are glorified in the Latino community and the Chicano community, and the way that we failed to actually hold them to a standard where they can be vulnerable, or that they have to be vulnerable. But these are all very amazing paintings, very amazing prints. I don't know the particular artists, but I can find that out for you all. Um, if y'all have any questions, feel free to like stop me when I'm talking. But yeah. And this is some art in the Latinx community. I know that Rhiannon put the artist. So the far left painting by Pedro Reis, a Colombian painter. The top right is by a Salvadorian artist, Fernando Lort. So these artists are depicting cultural symbolism, and I think this is, I mean, you can see that none of them look the same. None of them similarize to each other, but they all have cultural meanings. I know I see mais here. I see the community that they may live in, little soccer players. So like just a little bit of culture is everywhere. And then this is art in the Black community. Okay, sorry, I forget their names. Kenita Wiley and Carol Walker are these two particular artists. So I did some research on Kenita Wiley, and this painting is a particular series that he did in order to combat the stereotype of two genders. And this is depicting the third gender in the Philippines and in untraditional senses. So it's very much alluring to the fact that we are so stifled into this westernized community that we forget that pre-westernization, pre-colonization, there were liberties that we allowed ourselves that now we would never really see. And this third one, this one is depicting, if I believe correctly, the way that colonization affected Black people and Black girls in particular. Yes, it's just a little bit. And then this is art in the East Asian community. I think Rhiannon might know a little bit more about these, if you want to stop.
I mean, I don't have as much in-depth information as like you shared for the Chicana community, but if anybody wanted to know, I could definitely find the artist. I don't think I wrote it down for this one, but I tried to pick different different communities within the East Asian community. So I think on there I have Vietnamese, Chinese, and Japanese. And the one on the bottom was of like the little houses and stuff was from the, I mean, they're not really houses, but what it looks like. Japanese how do you say it? Does anyone know how to say it?
Determine? Determine?
The camps. But yeah, that was that. So definitely a really hard time, but it was by a Japanese American artist that was trying to depict something really hard that was a part of, you know, their culture. I don't know if you'd describe it as cultural history, but their family history. And yeah.
Okay. And then I think, oh, okay. Then this is some more art. It's very, okay. And then we have some art in the LGBTQ community. Like I said, art doesn't have to follow any rules. I know I keep saying rules and not explaining what rules are, but I think when we think of art, sometimes our minds go to what's in the museums, and often that is what white artists and what white people would create as art. And this is a little bit of everything. So I think this is Martha P. Johnson. They are one of the trans Black women at Stonewall who threw one of the first bricks. And this is a mural, I believe, I don't know where this is at, but I know that this is a mural, and the back of this is the trans flag. And it's just you can use art to celebrate not only your culture, but the people who have made it possible for you to exist. And I think that when you are part of this LGBTQ community, you value that history, because so much of it has been taken away, because a lot of the leaders and a lot of the people who fought for rights are unfortunately dead because of the circumstances. And this is a great depiction of honoring your heroes and honoring the legends that came. And then this is just what it feels like to be, I'm pretty sure, part of the community. But yes, and then art in the disabled community, it's just expressive of how one may feel as disabled in a broader sense, in a society that normally would not pay attention and normally would villainize disabled people. I think this art is supposed to depict them as human and, you know, as they should be. And then this is art through the lens of the undocumented community, and this is actually one of my friends. They are very talented and just talented. So this particular painting was done, and you can see the dedication. It's in resemblance to the community they found, to the ones that taught them how to grow and heal, and the definition of feeling of undocumented joy. And this is just their portrait. They have this. This is questioning, and here's like a little bit of information about questioning. It's pre the birth of questioning. They were put an eyeball doodle inspired by Ralph Waldo Emerson and the experience of absorbing rather than reflecting. After a biometrics appointment, the doodle evolved to include the constrictive feeling of being noted down by the government. We are constantly removed of our identity and stripped into one subject. Questioning symbolizes a sense of reclaiming the right to exist in a realm of built bliss, despite the obstacles that want us to only know sadness. And then if you can see, this print is questioning times 5. But this particular this particular print is supposed to express the way that the undocumented community is constantly facing just just not the best of situations, but when they are in community, they are able to blossom and bring their flowers together and show each other how to better feel, and just it's just supposed to express the way that community makes questioning a better person every day. um, and then okay, so this is when we're going to start painting. I hope all of you have your tools. Before we start, do you have any questions? Anybody? No. Okay, so here's the question we want y'all to take away from this, to start your painting. How do you envision yourself as a member of your community? What art is influenced by your existence? What kind of art will you make today that portrays a version of yourself you want to reach? So these are questions that you can answer with your painting. During this painting session, we will be socializing. We can chat a little, or I can play some music. I don't know if y'all like whatever you want. Y'all can tell me what you want. Um, but yes, so okay. Y'all wanna tell me? Do you guys want to talk, or do you guys want to? Sorry, I'm trying to open my little stuff. Do you want me to play music? What should I do?
Maybe if no one wants to talk, they can just drop some music requests in the chat box or something.
Yeah. Just let me know so I can connect this. Did y'all? No, y'all didn't. Okay. Okay. So, do you all have your supplies ready? Yes. Okay. Cool.
Guys,
Okay.
oh sorry.
Yes.
I was gonna say I'm at a party right now, so I brought my iPad. So I'm gonna do some like
Oh,
digital thing.
that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah,
Y'all are
I'm like
welcome to do
in
whatever
my
you
car.
want. Oh, okay. What about you, Karina?
Yeah, I have my items right here on the floor.
Okay. Okay. So we can all paint. I can look for the. Oh, actually, it's right here. Okay, so I can put some music on, or we can talk about the questions. I'm not an artist, so this is not going to be perfect. So y'all know, just in case y'all were expecting perfection from me, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I can talk for
Oh,
like
Nick.
I was like listening into the conversation, and I think for me, I think so many things like as far as my culture, like I feel like I don't really have a culture because it's sort of something that my parents never talk about, or like obviously food is part of the culture, like there's some food aspects, but um and Spanish, but I think like the history behind things, or like why we do things a certain way, I think that's sort of something we don't talk about. And I think it's interesting because we come here and we're in the US and we're like quote unquote Americans, right? But we're Mexican. Right? If we go to Mexico, we're we're like sort of like not Mexican because we don't we have like, we speak English and we don't know a lot of Spanish. So it's sort of like, I think culture is something that like I sort of like struggle with understanding where I'm at. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's valid. Um, I think I would agree with that. I don't think my parents 100% tell me anything, like history-wise. I don't think we've been taught much, and I can hardly speak Spanish now. Being honest, I get critiqued a lot for my incognizance to just the Spanish language. But I would say that I think art can help with that as well. And you can even form your own culture and your own like identity through art. Um, and I think that's the cool thing about art. I think that's why we do it, because it's not constrictive and it doesn't like force you to think too hard. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna draw this, and then it turns out to be about you. I don't know where Nora went.
Go first if you want.
Okay. Hi. So I don't know. For me, it's kind of like really hard to kind of pinpoint where I stand in communities, because I am Hispanic, but I'm not like super duper Hispanic. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I am Hispanic, but I don't have any Hispanic culture, or I don't have any like Hispanic traditions to the point where I'm like, here, wait. To the point where I'm like, oh, I can definitely like say that I'm a proud Hispanic. Like, I'm not ashamed to be Hispanic, but I just don't have anything to like back that up necessarily. But I just know that in the Hispanic culture there are a lot of bright colors, and so that's why I did this. And then it says it's a world of laughter and a world of tears, which is just us. It's a lyric from It's a Small World, and that's why I basically think of my culture as is like, there isn't a particular pinpoint where I identify as specifically Hispanic, but rather like different communities. Because Rhiannon knows this. My parents grew up taking me to Vietnamese malls and celebrating Vietnamese holidays, even though we're not Vietnamese whatsoever. And so yeah, this is what I made with all the bright colors.
I love that. It's so cute.
Thank you.
I want one like that. That is so cute. I love it.
Have this one.
Huh?
You can have it.
No.
Why not?
That's your emotional identity piece. Yeah.
Okay. That was cute. I like it. Mine is a mess. I'm not an artist. I can't draw. I can't draw. Okay, so she's tiny, but it's a little bit of everything. So I think for me, I'm also not that I'm not proud of being Mexican, but like being Mexican has a lot of negative connotations. And when it comes to like certain things, like Nicholas was saying before, I don't think I'm like 100% in agreement with like some of the homophobia, like some of the xenophobia, like just stuff like that. So I think when I think of community, I think of like the LGBT community or the undocumented community, and like a lot of my life has been spent camping, which is weird because it's just weird. Um, so I like trees, and I'm like a big like, if I want to reset, I go camping, or I like go and like sit in the middle of nowhere with trees. So that's a big part of my identity, and a lot of it is very like, it's chaotic. There's no real like definition to what I am or who I am. So it's letting it all destroy what I'm building, but then that destroying nature comes and brings more stuff. So it's like a wildfire. So there you go.
Is that what the at the end, like all the bug, it's like the wildfire?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
That's so pretty. I love that. There's a lot of meaning in that. A lot of symbolism. That's really cool. Mine's not even close to being done. You guys are like really done. You're almost there. Mine is like, you're gonna have to imagine because only half of it is done. There's a monarch butterfly, but it doesn't look like it because it's not done. And and then this is supposed to be like the rice fields and mountains in Vietnam. So basically being like, it's very similar to you guys, like kind of feeling like really similar to what Nicholas was sharing too, like a disconnect from my culture, you know, or like who I am, and especially based off of like what people label me as, because I feel like well, I live in Irvine, but I've lived in both Irvine and Santa Ana, and I feel like when I was living in Santa Ana and when I was going to school at Samueli, everybody like labeled me as like some kind of Asian, you know? Like everybody saw me as that, but I'm also half Mexican, and it just made me feel like, you know, they only see me as this one thing, and because I'm not exactly like everybody else, they don't view me as that, you know, even though I see that as part of my identity. And then being in Irvine, I feel like, in going to school here when I was younger, I feel like everybody labeled me as like Mexican girl, you know, like, and I was also half Chinese from Vietnam, so I don't know, it definitely like seeing how like both sides kind of like treated me as like, oh well, you're not really one of us, you're more like this, you know, like whatever the other half is. So I painted that because my mom's side of the family, my mom is from Michoacan. So I thought that the monarch butterfly would be a really good symbol, and I love butterflies. I thought it would be like a really good symbol of like that side of myself. And then my dad is also an immigrant from Vietnam, so I wanted to paint the rice fields from Vietnam in the mountains, and that's just not finished yet. So we'll get there when we get there. But I felt like it was something that kind of encompassed who I am, and that it emphasizes that I can be both, not just one or the other. So.
Thank y'all for coming. Y'all want to take a little picture with your painting and send it so we can send it to Nora?
Yeah. Hold it up in the camera. Do you want to take it? You can take it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay, everyone smile. Okay, cool. I'll send this to Nora. Okay. Thanks. I think this is a good exercise. I hope y'all had fun painting.
It's like de-stressful.
Yeah, it was.
It was really fun.
Any more questions? Yeah, I think we can have another one of these. I think it's definitely cool to like hear people's like cultures, especially because like we don't know each other like that, and I think art is very like connecting without it needing to be. But it was nice to hear, and it was nice to like see that you're not alone, I guess, in that sense, like, you know. But yes, thank you for coming. Hopefully we'll have another one of these soon, and yeah, I never know how to end these.
Zoom calls are like awkward.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night, guys. It was fun. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. Good one.
You too.